All right, hello everybody out there. So this week in our class, might be week 6, might be another week, but anyway, basically you have a really important research assignment due in which you essentially have to show me that you know how to cite and do a works cited. There's a lot of little steps that go into that, and so what I thought I'd do is thank you to that great student out there who asked me a great question on remind.com, exactly the kind of question that I like to receive. I appreciate that, because what I wanted to do is not just answer it, but walk you through seven steps that could help you guys complete this project. And I know it seems like a lot, but a lot goes into research, and it makes the paper process a lot better in the end. So here's what she said. I've watched your video 6 times. I just can't seem to grasp it. I can't figure out the AVL, nor do I comprehend fully the quote sandwich, but I'm trying. I really don't have that much at all. I can't seem to find any sources on AVL related to my topic about Christian mingle after searching for over 70 things. So this is the key thing. She's writing on a social media app that is called Christian Mingle. So it's geared towards individuals who are Christian, who of course want to find somebody to at least date, have a romantic relationship with. But of course, in many cases, one of the things I found in my own research is that they're quite successful. I think probably significantly more successful in leading to marriages than most other apps like Match.com, for instance. But anyway, what a great, compelling topic, and I don't think I've ever read that paper, so kudos to you for an original and cool approach. Anyway, so how do we do this? Well, there's a lot to this. I'm going to talk really fast. I'm going to skim through some things, and if I do, feel free to go back, rewind, pause, whatever. But basically, these are the directions for what's due. And just to be clear, everybody, you're putting this in discussion board, right? Not course mail. You're posting it as a new thread, and I think you're attaching the Word file, I believe. It says it on discussion, so read that. Please make sure you do this. Include all the parts. You can label them and include them inside the Word file. If you're lost on anything, I said this before, I'll say it again, but look over the student sample that I have posted online. It's right there. It's like a Word file. Check it out. It's by Logan Stanton, I think, or it might be by another student. I might even give you guys a few of those. All right, so I want to go back to this great topic and kind of walk you all through this. And what I'm doing here for the student, apply it to your topic. So pretend you're her, okay? You're in the same position as her with your topic. So feel free to come back to this, pause it, and do it step by step. So step 1, and I bet you're struggling with this one, right? Which is you got to find a source, or excuse me, you got to find 2 sources, right? One of them is an academic journal. The other one is an online newspaper. Okay, easier said than done. Okay, right? And let me give you some very important advice. It's going to hurt. It's going to feel like a stab to the heart when I say it, but I'm just going to be real with you. If you're searching by your topics, your exact topic, like Christian mingle, you might find things. You might find nothing. You're more likely going to find a lot of things that don't fit or are not reliable. That's very common. Hey guys, welcome to the club. This elite club of researchers where you want to tear your hair out and stomp the ground like a 3-year-old having a temper tantrum. It happens to everybody out there. Happens to me too. And so I wanted to take a lot of that stress and duress out of your life by saying be super flexible. Okay, if you're searching by Christian mingle, it's not the way to go. But if you search by dating apps, better. If you search by dating relationships in general, maybe we'll put social media on hold. Maybe we'll find sources. See what I'm doing? Change your search terms. And I said this online on another lecture, but be adaptive. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through what I did. I can't do this for every student, but because the student reached me early enough and asked such a good question, I did. So first I just said, all right, I got to find 2 sources. One's AVL and one's online newspaper. Okay. So I wanted to start with the AVL. Now remember, y'all, I'm assuming you already did this, so I'm going to talk real fast. You go to the AVL, you use the college university sources, and I like Academic Search Premier. Okay. You go there, you search by key terms. Well, I'm not going to bore you guys because it took me 30 minutes to find this source. So I'm going to I'm going to fast forward all that. I typed in this, I typed in that, I typed in this, I typed in that. That didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work, nothing worked. It was a nightmare. And then finally what I did was I typed in, I can't even honestly remember what I typed in. I don't know what it was. I typed in some search terms. My computer went out, so anyway, I just kept changing it up. But here are some things I want to remind everybody out there in the class. When you do search for your terms, remember here, you put them up here obviously in search, but don't forget to go down here and make sure that it's an academic journal, because there's a lot of junk in AVL. Yeah, there's a lot of newspapers and magazines. You can't use a newspaper, you can't use a magazine. I'm not going to accept that on this part. The newspaper's a separate part. Okay, so just heads up on that. So I searched for it. I don't remember what I wrote, but they give you this cool list at the bottom. See, dating apps, that was a dead end. Dating and online was a dead end. Dating apps and relationships, none of these worked. I typed in something, I don't even remember what it was, but I found this one. Okay, so I'm just going to cut to that. And now, before you pick your topic, your source, let's go through the criteria that I listed here. It's reliable. If it's written by authors who seem to be, if not experts, online in the journal, they're experts, they're scholars. Online, they're just experts. Okay. It's relevant in some way. Notice what I said here. Indirectly relevant. It doesn't say Christian Mingle in the topic. Okay, it doesn't need to. Okay, it doesn't need to be Christian social media app. It's just app, a dating app. Fine, that works. Okay. Is it authored? It has to be authored. If it's not authored, find another source. Can't accept it. Okay. It's up to date. What do I mean by that? Approximately 5 years. If you got to go back to 2017, 2018, okay, great. Go for it. Maybe 2016. But then what you want to do is, and this is the hardest part of all, you got to weed out the countless unreliable sources. So here's some more hints if you're stuck. Try geography. Try to narrow it down to the United States, or at least the language to English. Okay. Try looking at the publication names, the titles of the publications, and you can narrow it down. Okay, anyway. Now, let's find our, by the way, sorry, let me back up. What was the name of this source? Okay, I'm not going to read the whole title, but Relationships, Social Comparisons in Dating and Marital Relationships. By the way, it gets into social media. Here are the two authors. By the way, both of them, look at that, they're affiliated with the university. They're psychologists. So they're academics, they're experts, they're scholars. Bingo, we got a good one, okay? This is the actual article. Now, how did I open this article? You got to go over here when you find it and do the PDF full text. If you don't have PDF full text, you don't have an academic article. If it doesn't have pages on it, it ain't an academic article, okay? So do make sure. It'll usually look something like this. This is called Routledge, but, the Journal of Social Psychology. See that? It'll have some kind of title like that. All right. And anyway, so there we got our other source. What was harder to find was the online newspaper. Now, I did find one, and I've shared it with the student, but I went through, it was a nightmare. Ooh, I did things like this. Christian dating, in quotes, because that means you find a direct match. Then I did problems, because I'm trying to make an argument. This student, by the way, is on the side of saying that this is a very valuable resource. Christian Mingle is good and effective, but you can't just, in this class, guys, on SA2, you're not promoting anything. You don't work for Christian Mingle, so you actually have to make an argument where you are shooting down those who claim there are a lot of problems with social media sites or something like that. Anyway, whew, look here. So I did a search, and I just want to walk you through my process, and I know this is going to sound like, I'm going to sound kind of mean and strict, but you have to be tough. It's tough love. That's what this is. Speaking of finding a mate, we got to find the right source here, right? And sometimes you got to kiss a lot of frogs before you get there. So first you go through these. Walking the Shoreline, I'm not even going to read it. That sounds interesting, but that's somebody's blog. We're not using blogs. Reddit, nope, bye. Samuel Bredner, personal blog, bye. Another blog. University of Washington Information School, that's interesting. .edu, let's keep going because it's not a newspaper. Who is safer to date? Christian men, bare marriage. See, none of these fit. Y'all can just see. I'm just going to go through them. None of them fit. None of them fit. TikTok, for the love of God, don't go there. Hudson Reporter sounded interesting, but then look. everybody avoid things that sound like they're doing the top 10 or the pros and the cons, because what those are not really articles. They're just kind of like surveys. Okay, I'm going to spare you guys because see, y'all see where this is going. Some of them looked promising, like Miami Herald. That's an online newspaper, but it's just a review. Like, this is somebody who's saying, hey, if you want to use this, use it. There's not going to be a lot of good, strong information in that. So here's what I did. Watch. I finally searched by, I don't remember, I searched by dating apps. Yeah, dating app and newspaper. Dating app and newspaper. And I made sure it was in the last few years. And lo and behold, on NPR, which is npr.org, they have a group of people that are pretty awesome called Planet Money. And because, you know, it's expensive to date, but also pay for the site. And so this is called the dating app paradox, why they may be worse than ever. Okay, so I know the student out there is trying to take the other side, get it? She's on the side of, you know, this dating app is great, or it's very good, and it helps people do A, B, and C. Awesome. But this is going to help her later, especially in body paragraph 3, because y'all remember, body paragraph 3 is when you do concession rebuttal. Remember y'all's templates? Now you know why you did that. G, remember letter G, where you took the other side, shot them down? So, talking to the student out there, you might find an interesting point somewhere in this article that you take, you state their point, their problem, and then shoot it down. That could be your third topic sentence. I know we're not there yet, but anyway. So this is a good one. We have an author. Okay, we won't need page numbers, right? Because it's an online newspaper, so to speak, that doesn't have any pages. So we will cite him, when we cite him, by Rosalsky in the in-text citation. These folks back over here, we're going to cite by Mori and Sucharnia, and then wherever I have a page number. So if I'm over here, it would be page 400. If I quote or cite or paraphrase, it'll be page 400 with those names. Okay, I'm going to show you that in a second. All right, have you located your source? If not, please pause this video, come back later, find some sources, okay? If you're still struggling, try to contact me if you can as soon as possible. Now, the next step is, I thought actually before we do the other things, you know what, let's do the works cited first, because we've found the articles, they're great, they fit, we're going to use them later. And so a works cited, remember, I always like to just do mine at the bottom of the bottom of the article. It's going to wind up looking like this. And see what I have? Let me just walk you through it. I want y'all's works cited that you give me to look, you know, very close to this, different sources, of course. Works cited like that, centered, capital, right? Okay, then you have the academic source and the online newspaper. Now, how are they ordered? You go by author last name. M comes before R. Okay. Now, just so we're clear, by the way, your source, when you do your works cited, go ahead and do that, please, very soon. I'll walk you through that in a second. Make sure that it looks something like this. Author last name for the academic source, title in quotes. See that? The journal that you got it from is italicized, volume, number. If available, you also will have the, you know, season, month, whatever, the year, the page numbers. By the way, and in that exact format, and then you're going to have where you got it. This is the AVL, what do you call it, URL, HTTP thing. Okay, so that's an academic journal. What I'm trying to say, that's the academic journal. We used to make people do this. I'll take it either way. You can do the access date. Remember, if it's today, it would be that format. If you don't put it in there, it's okay. Never have this blue ink. So how do you remove it? Look what I'm doing. Right mouse button, remove hyperlink. Okay, that's optional, the access thing, so I'm not going to take off if you leave it off. All right, the online newspaper, look at that, same thing. Look, author last, then first. Except if you have two authors, see, then it flips it. But anyway, we have one author, just like that. Same thing, title in quotes. Who published it? NPR, italicized. That's the online site. NPR is the actual publisher, the company, corporation that owns it. So yeah, believe it or not, you put it twice, just like that with a comma. Then the date that it was published, because remember, this is the day, month, and year in that format, see? Right? It's an online newspaper. It's daily, right? So you put it that way, then a comma, then the URL, but don't make that URL look like that. See? So how do we remove it for last time? We're going to go remove hyperlink. Okay, so we're done with that, but let me show you how we can make that really fast. Okay, let's go back to the academic journal. Want to see the fastest way to make your academic journal turned into a works cited? I said this online somewhere, but I'll say it again. You go to that thing over here. See this? It says cite. Should say cite, but anyway, it's a little envelope. Look at it on the right thing. Scroll down. A lot of my students, I don't know why, they give me things like this. You just gave me APA. You're not taking nursing or psychology or whatever it is. That's not what this class is. This is English. And in the humanities, we use MLA 9. And I know I sound like a blankety blank, but we have to do it. And there it is, see? That matches it perfectly. But be careful, because you're going to be tempted to do what I always do, which is copy and paste. But watch, when I copy and paste it into my works cited, pretend this is the first time I found it. If you use the first one, that's wrong. Totally wrong, right? Gray font, gray stuff on it, no hanging indents. That's the hanging indent, covered that earlier. So how do you fix it? Watch me. When you push the paste, do the middle paste, highlight it. Okay, you highlighted the source, right mouse button. By the way, that's just right mouse button to do these little functions. Paragraph, see where it says indentation, hanging, voila. That's how we do the academic journal. There it is. Okay. How do we do the other one? This one right here. You take the HTTP, you go to the top, you take the URL where you found it. You copy it. You go to citation machine. So just type in citation machine online. All right. You make sure, careful, a lot of people do the wrong one. Which one are we doing? MLA. MLA citation generator. You type website. You paste in the URL. I know I covered this online somewhere else, but I'm just doing it again to reinforce it. You do cite. They may make you watch a video because, it's not free, so to speak. You complete the citation. Yeah, they're going to make you watch a message. I'm not going to bore you with that. But basically, at the end of it, you're going to copy and paste it exactly the same way we did. They'll make it for you. Okay. I don't think I can show this to you guys, but anyway, they'll make it for you, and then you're going to paste it, but you're going to make sure it looks something like that. Okay. So let's move on. And if you would, please go ahead and do your work cited. Before you move on, pause this video and do your work cited. Okay. All right. So next step. That's actually a lot that we've done so far, isn't it? You all should be feeling better about where you are in research. Okay, then what you want to do, we're done with these, right? We want to do these summary, paraphrase, and direct citations. You have to show me 3 in the assignment, okay? Just take a stab at them. The good news is once we do this one, this is easy because it's very similar. And the last one is just doing a direct quote, okay? And you can do that like this way. If you mix and match them somehow, it's okay, as long as I can see that you do it. Now, let me show you a little trick. Okay, so I'm talking to the student who's writing on this, but I mean, that is a long article. It's boring. It's heavy. And I mean, if you go into that field, it's great. I shouldn't say it's boring. That's mean. But it's very, very heavy and dense. So what you want to do is for the summary of the article, whatever you're writing on, look in the introduction. Okay, it might be a page or 2 or more, but skim through it. And that is a lot to trudge through. See it right here? So what I like to do is check this out. This is a cool technique I came up with. It's just me. Do your own thing. Try to take the original text, obviously don't put it right into your paper, and what I want you to do is, I'm not going to bore you here, but you go through it, and that's a lot to process. See, that would put you into a deep coma. But to make it easier, hang on a minute, okay, just go through and highlight the keywords of the introduction. Not every word, but the main ideas, and get the gist of it. Then look it over, and then see what I highlighted here. Maybe you take these ideas and you say, oh, this is about, basically this article is about, they did a bunch of studies, psychology studies. Long story short, they said they looked at people who use social media for dating, and they found that the individuals would often make frequent relationship comparisons. So, and everybody does this, right? And they call them, it's really cool, they call them downward and upward. And the downward relationships mean, like, let's say you go, oh, my relationship or my best friend's relationship or my cousin or my mom, whatever, it didn't work out. Downward means all the problems that happened with the bad breakup. Then there's the upward side when you compare yourself to the other relationship, which is like, oh, they wound up married, or look at the really cool bling bling jewel that he got for her. You know, that's the upward feeling. So positive and negative, right? So it's a pretty interesting article. And so that's basically the gist of it. And y'all notice I'm getting kind of into it a little bit. Get into your article, because it can seem bone-crushingly boring, but if you take it on and look at the things that are cool and compelling and just highlight on those, that's good. So anyway, individuals' cognitions, you know, this is a psychologist, right? So they talk like that. Predictive relationship, quality, emotion, behaviors, implications of self, satisfaction, like that. Oh, whatever. Just go and highlight the parts that are important. Skip the rest. Cut out a lot of it. Don't pay attention to all the little details. This study there and this thing there. Just ignore it. And so here's step one on that. So you look over the keywords and then rephrase them in different language. Because remember, a summary citation can never have a quote. No quotes, guys. No quotes in the summary citation. You put it in your own formal words. Okay, we'll put that in a minute. Step two, you take the writers and you provide a relevant credential tag. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, go online, find some quick information about the writers. Well, if you go to, what I did was I looked up Marion Morey. I'm not worried about the second writer. There are two, right? The second writer is writing with or for her. It's the first writer I looked up. And Marion Morey used to be associated with the University of Manitoba as a psychologist. She's an academic. She's a scholar. Good. You might put that in your credential tag. Credentials mean you got to prop them up, right? You're not just going to throw a name in there, right? Just tell us who they are. Okay. And I also went deeper into that. I even, looked in some other site and found some information on her. Okay. You just don't use direct words. You can't write, her research interests include social... See, that's cheating, that's plagiarism, right? But you can take things and just put them in your own formal words, and that's fine. And so here you go. Let me show you an example of what I'm talking about. Okay, credential tags. Here you go. Y'all see this? By the way, I made this up. You writer out there, you're going to do something different. But Dr. Marion Morey, a professor, I better capitalize that. Hang on. Okay, a professor of psychology at the University of Manitoba specializes in social cognition applied to dating relationships. Now, y'all don't have to do all that stuff, but give us a little bit of something. That's credential. See it? She, or maybe we could say along with up here, because there's two people writing it. Two people wrote it, along with another fellow writer. She argues that, and here's this part right here. You see this here? Here's where you're going to write in your own words, no quotes, a summary citation. Let's say it's probably going to take us, for all that up there, it's probably going to take us one long sentence or two shorter sentences. Just type it in there. And then at the end of it, see, watch this, guys. You must do the in-text citation. So we must have Morey and Sucharya, and then the page number. Don't write PAG. Don't write page, PP, or whatever. It's got to be that format. Don't put a comma here. That's not MLA style, right? It has to look something like that. Okay. So I'm moving really quickly, but I have to just to get through this with you guys. So do make sure that here's another hint that I want to give you. If you're stuck with the articles, just pick a short part of them. Don't read the whole thing. You don't have time. Maybe the intro, a couple other pages. And what I like to do is I like to print stuff, and I like to write all over the article, okay? And I call that annotation, right? Where you make little notes in the margin, you highlight it, circle it, try that. That's an excellent critical reading technique. Okay, don't turn those into me. Don't put them into the assignment. Just put them into your notes. So, I'm never you would never turn this into me, right? You're just turning in what it asks for. Okay. All right, so let me make this really quick. So, I think I already did all that. Yeah, covered that. Include the author's last names and the page numbers for the academic source. Now, the good news is, paraphrase is identical to the above summary. Okay, when you do the paraphrase citation, the second one, it's the same as the summary, but it's just shorter. So in other words, just find a small point in the article. Okay, I'm not going to bore you with it, but I fast forwarded, whatever, went through the article, and I went to somewhere on page 401. I'm just making this up. The student out there, don't use this one, do your own. But I found this original information. Okay, we can't do a direct quote. We can't do a direct quote. We have to put this into a paraphrase, which means we reword it just like we did the summary. Okay, so watch. You did something like this. Now, guys, I've already introduced these people to you. I'm not going to tell you who they are all over again. A psychologist at the University of Manitoba. I don't need to do that because that would be redundant. But I do have to tell people, hey, this is where I got it, right? So according to Mori and Susharia, couples who date online react both negatively and positively. For instance, an engagement evokes joy in them, while a breakup causes them to become upset. And that's the page number. Now, I could put this in there too. If y'all did this, that would be totally cool. See what I'm doing? Okay. Now, let me explain. This right here is a paraphrase citation because I reworded this. Don't put the original in there. Reword it. See, I reworded it. Same idea. My formal words. Okay, feel free to pause the screen if you need to look at that. You have to do one of those somewhere in your article. Okay. The last one is, I think, the easiest of all, which is do a direct quote. Okay, that means you're going to have a signal phrase setting up the quote, exact words from the source, and then include the in-text citation with the author. If it's academic, I already said this. You have a page. Now here, which is for the Planet Money one. Remember Wazowski? I don't need a page number, just his name. So here's what the dude originally said, and here's the original quote. Now, I can't just plop that in, or that's like almost like plagiarism, right? And I have to give credit and use MLA style. So this is very simple. So let me give you guys room to look at this. So you can see it together. Okay, so this was the original, but I thought I'd give a signal phrase with the author. And again, a quick credential. Just look up who the dude is, what he does. Greg Rosowski, a writer for NPR's Planet Money, has observed that, quote, I quote that directly. Now I'm doing a direct quote, direct word for word copy. Quote, according to blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then author last name, Rosowski. Okay, all right. Now you could also do it this way. You know what? You could technically have done it like this. A writer for NPR's Planet Money has observed that, quote, and then it's Rosowski. See? You could do it the other way, frankly, but, you know. Okay, so that's the last one. Now, we already did step 7 was make works cited. We already covered that earlier. But do make sure in your works cited that you have your academic source, which is the AVL thing that you use, the citation, whatever. And then the newspaper use citation machine, but make sure that they're MLA format, everybody, right? Don't use some other formats, and then we'll go from there. All right, I'm going to end now. That was a lot of information, but it'll give you a step-by-step process that I hope helps you. And if it's got rusty spots on it, that's okay. You got time to come back to it and work on it. There's going to be errors. It's okay. I'll work with you on those, and we'll get you along the way. All right? Thank you. Good luck.